Hi everyone, thank you for coming despite the awful weather. Please grab some food, we have Cruciner Pizza. And don't forget to sign in and grab a flyer, it guides you through today's meeting. And for the investment managers that are here today, you should have received an email from Will K with the password and the username and password for MarketWatch. And if you have any trouble logging in or any questions about MarketWatch in general, please feel free to ask us after our meeting. Here to speak today we have Rob Ray, Wealth Strategist and Portfolio Manager at UBS. He's also a member of SAIFE's Executive Board. He's here today to present about LinkedIn, and we will learn how to leverage it as a tool for more productive networking and possibly get an interview or meeting with someone in a company that you're looking to get a job at. Thank you today for coming, Rob, and please welcome Rob Ray.
What's going on, guys?
Okay.
Yeah? No answers? All right. What's going on, fellas? Delicious Cruciner Pizza. Make sure you guys. Okay. So we're going to talk about LinkedIn. And I think on the flyer that went out, it said something like how to use LinkedIn to get a job. I can't tell you how to use this to get a job. That's your responsibility. What I can do is tell you how to use this to get you in front of the person that will give you that job, right? Does anybody use LinkedIn? Does anybody even know what it is? Handful. Who does not know what LinkedIn is? This is that awkward part where like nobody wants to raise their hand. I'm the only guy. So, what I'm going to cover with this brief agenda, looks like some of you guys got it. A couple different things on LinkedIn, some of the basics, some of the advanced portions of it. The first is, I'll go ahead and log in here. First thing I would say would be talk to you about, the first thing I'll say is the importance or the reason why to use it. So in LinkedIn, here we go. In LinkedIn, it's all about making connections, right? Now, what makes LinkedIn different, and I'll use this different in contrast from Facebook, is that these are connections that you want to mine, you want to network. They're not your friends, you don't want to see the picture of the dog, you don't want a selfie, you don't want like any of this sort of stuff, right? This is your professional Rolodex that you guys are building to get you whatever you need. So the title for the thing tonight was a job. Maybe it's not a job. Maybe you need a guy. I can't tell you how many clients will call me and say, I need something, somebody to do something. I need to talk to someone. Oh, I got a guy. I know a guy that happens to do exactly that, and he's the best in his field, right? Either you can help someone, or they can help you. These connections are defined by in different tiers. Okay, here we go. It comes in different tiers. So there's a first, a second, and a third level connection. Okay. What's your name? Camille. Camille? Yeah. Camille. You and I connect on LinkedIn. You are a first level connection for me. You and I know each other now. You know Mike, but I don't. To me, Mike is a second level connection. Got that? First level. Second level is I got to go through Camille to get to Mike, right? A third level connection connection is Will that Mike knows. So in order to get to Will, I gotta go through Camille, then I gotta meet Mike, then I gotta meet Will, okay? Everybody's hip to the first, second, and third? Now, the importance of this is the sheer exponential magnitude that this has in terms of being able to reach people, right? So, if you've got, let's see. So I have 447 first level connections. People that are in my network that I know and that I can pick up the phone and they'll take my call. Or they'll meet me for coffee, something like that. Combining those first level, all of their connections, which would be my second level connections, right? And then all the third level connections gives me access to like 5.9 million people, right? It's exponential. If you've got, like 300 connections, you look at just the second level, right? Because getting to Will, that's kind of dusty, right? I gotta ask Camille to do me a favor, introduce me to Mike, and then I gotta get to Will. That's kind of, that's a little bit of a far shot. But if I just look in terms of second level connections, if I've got 300, that gives me like 36,000 people in terms of people in my Rolodex. That's pretty powerful, okay? Now to give you an example of just how it works and why this is a good thing and not just something you should sign up for and forget about. I had what would be a potential new client contact me and was coming into the office, and I'm sure, like me, you meet somebody, you go like Google them, right? And like find out what, he's a crazy stalker, murderer, felon, whatever. And I found him on LinkedIn. And so I thought, wow, this is great. He's going to be coming in. I should learn something about this guy before he comes in. What can I find out, right? And the game of using LinkedIn and doing all these searches is to try and close the difference between you and the person you want to meet, right? So Will, the other Will, is somebody I want to meet. Now, if I don't know anything about him or whatever, I try and contact him. What's the chances of him talking to me? Goose right? But if I can close the distance one step at a time, oh yeah, he's a student at OU. Okay, that's it. I went to OU. Oh, he's in SAIFE. That's pretty cool. I'm in SAIFE too. He likes football. So do I like football. He was born in Plymouth. So was I. Wow. Hey, Will, we were both born in Plymouth. That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so now all of a sudden you're talking to me. That's the type of interaction you want to get to with whoever you're contacting. So in the case that you're looking to get a job, you're going to have an interview or something, you want to get those lines of similarity together. So anyways, this guy's coming in, find his profile, lo and behold, he has Sigma Pi listed on his profile. I was in Sigma Pi, fraternity here on campus. He was from Grand Valley State. I'm here from Oakland. I do a little bit, so now, okay, now that's a juicy little tidbit. So I go look at, the Sigma Pi website, and I go do a little bit of research. Turns out, he was the vice president of his chapter. So was I. So I'm thinking, okay, this is great. This is like the best thing I got. So he comes into my office, and on my office, I've got my shingle, which is what you get when you get initiated into a fraternity, in a frame, hanging on the wall, right by his chair. You have to say anything. Took all about 15 seconds, like, really? You're a Sigma Pi? And all of a sudden, boom, right there. There's a connection, right? I'm not trying to get over all that sort of stuff.
Can you say you have interviewed someone's coming to see you?
Yeah.
Can you post tell the whole world, does anybody know this person, John Doe?
So
Can you do that?
Yes, and please, for the sake of conversation, I like talking, I don't like presenting so much, so this isn't a me reaching you guys sort of thing. So if you have questions, just holler out. You can. There is a communication feature of LinkedIn where here you can share an update, you can ask a question, you can say, hey, I just got a new job, I can just do whatever. The great thing about LinkedIn is that it will tell you if you've got a lead to chase down. You don't have to ask if anybody knows it. So let me give you, let me take one step back and close this thing out. The important reason to use LinkedIn is that your network, possibly, is, being in college is there, but your future networks are already there. I've heard people that have used LinkedIn before and have said, I don't know if I want to connect to that guy because I don't know too much about him. He's on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is about business networking. It's like walking into a party, seeing you there, and they're like, oh, I don't know if that guy likes the party. If you're in the party, you like the party. Okay? So you should never be bashful about using it. Now, the part of this, I'm going to tell you, there is some etiquette that people don't use, and I highly recommend that you do use, to not be like a LinkedIn troll that nobody wants to talk to, nobody ever wants to deal with, but I'll touch on that a little bit. So in terms of, let me answer this question, and then I'll go back. So this was something I was going to.
That's fine. You can leave it to the end.
Okay, it'll make it more impactful. I promise. So in terms of your profile, this is your LinkedIn is really like an online resume that anybody can find. There are some basic components that you should use, fill out. One, have a decent picture. In terms of the feed and everything else, if you don't have a picture, there's a gray box with a gray head and shoulders thing. And every single instance, I have found that seeing someone's face is more engaging than not seeing them. And so you can either be a nobody like everybody else, or you can actually have your picture up there. Don't crop out a picture of like you and all your friends, and there's all these hands around the shoulders, and there's like this weird hands in the picture sort of thing. You don't put like a picture of your dog or anything like that. Just take, a nice picture. It doesn't have to be artistic, but just something presentable, because in this age of information, someone searches your name and finds your LinkedIn, like that's your first impression. And how many first impressions do you get to make? Just one. One, exactly. Your name and what you do, what you are. People have an amazing need to box people. Oh, you're a CPA. Okay, you go in the CPA box in my head, right? You're an automotive guy. Okay, you're an engineer. You go in the engineer box with all my other engineering things. Some people put this like frilly thing, like, I help manage people through the various stages of retirement, like all this sort of like, nobody wants to read that. They just want to know like what you do. Now this is something where you can be a little bit creative. So you don't have to just say student. Great. That means to me that you are taking a class. It tells me nothing else about what you're doing. OU student major in finance. Or something like, oh, okay, that's a little more dynamic. I get a little bit more of that. But don't make it like a paragraph. If you want to say like double major and something like that's cool. There are two portions. I'll pull up edit my profile. Now there are two boxes here, summary and experience. You guys both see those? Okay, summary is your like paragraph space to summarize who you are. kayak and blah, blah, blah. in there. But as a professional, what is your summary? Now, in my profession, I'm not able to take the liberty to spell out all this stuff, or else it would be on there. Instead, I have my professional biography that was written through the firm, and that's what I posted through there. There's also room to put your experience. This is a place where you can talk about the experiences that you've had, either collegiately, right, as a student, or internships, or if you were, I remember in high school, I was on the first team, robotics. Anybody else do that?
So you literally type it in, or you can scan your resume?
Yeah, no. This is stuff you wanna type. So here, this edit button, right? We'll pull this up. So now you can type it all out.
Okay.
Same thing with here. Now, in experience, you're gonna add a position. So they're gonna want a little bit about like what you've done. So you could say intern at Fanuk, that's the local robotics place.
Yeah.
Okay. From this time to this time, and this is what I did. Something to give some context to what you've done. If you've had employment or you've done other things, this is where you can list it in this experience space. I would recommend that if it's worth, now, if you worked at like the Gap and you folded clothes, like you could just put that, maybe you can find a way to spin that, embellish a little bit on your responsibilities. But if you had any kind of like management position or something, that's worth putting a little bit more detail. That can be done just by clicking edit. Again, right, you can put that in there. Again, for compliance reasons, I can't, that's why mine are blank.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Is there any other kind of experience that you can mention other than jobs and internships?
We can. This is the one cool thing that LinkedIn has done, is over here, they've expanded what that experience could be. So maybe you worked on a really awesome project, and that was something you wanted to highlight. Well, experience comes with working at a portal. So if you did a project here at Oakland University, OU wouldn't be your employer, but you could list it as a project, and then go into detail about the experiences that you had doing that.
Volunteer work.
Yeah, you can do, there's volunteering in causes, right? So you can say, I'm involved in this, but you would definitely want to list stuff that makes you a more dynamic person, right? What you do in terms of anything outside of work experience, work or employment will provide experience. Now, the creative or your responsibility, managing your profile, is to me, as the person that doesn't know you, to frame that in such a way that I can appreciate what that means to me, right? So theoretically, if I was an employer, right? Like, okay, so you did this thing, great. Tell me what that means to me. How does that benefit me, right? Because in the end, that's all anybody really cares about is how does it make me better, right? So, yeah, if you speak another language, put that in there, that's a big thing. Projects, courses. You had something unique, you can put in your degree in terms of education, all that sort of stuff. Test course, if you're one of those like super smarty pants that like nails it out of the park, flaunt it. I don't think any of this room has any patents, but just in case you guys are all smart, maybe you'll have one.
One question.
Yes, we are.
With projects, for example, you would obviously have to be mindful of, like, you don't want to go putting information you've done for a company if you don't think the company would want you to put information about a project that you did.
Yeah, so if it's like some NSA level stuff, or some black ops or whatever. No, I mean, if it's something proprietary, you don't have to say specifics, but the experience that you garnered from it, you know, hey, let's say you learn how to use Access, and now all of a sudden you're a database guy. Like, you can say that, that's not pinching anybody. But yeah, I mean, if you're in that kind of a position, that's something, you know, to be cognizant of. Organizations, right? All the cool kids in the room have SAIFE on their thing. That's what I heard. But you can put, you know, whatever you're involved in. It's worth, again, lines, I can't do it, but tell me, you know, listen, if you're a member of the Rochester CERT in downtown Rochester, what does that mean to me as a potential employer or someone that you're trying to connect with? You're a motivated leader, you don't require instructions, you can save my life, you know, that's important. Whatever. Additional organizations, now you're here, you know, at school. It's a good chance to put something in terms of the organizations you've been involved in. Now, what makes this really great is that see how these are hyperlinked? That is a search string through LinkedIn, so that if you click on it or you're searching for the Oakland University Alumni Association, anyone else that has that listed will come up in your search. Yeah, so be focused, don't put like, you know, I like running marathons. Like, don't type that in. Type just like marathon running, right? Because you want to be concise about it. Certifications go with, you know, like the DOIC exams or what have you. If you got something special you can put in. Oakland University, rocking that. Sigma Pi, OU Rugby Club. This is a kind of peculiar thing, and I'll just bring this up because it's kind of this weird social aspect of LinkedIn now. Mike thinks I'm really awesome at strategic financial planning. He can endorse me and say, Rob is really good at this, right? That is so that when you look at my profile, you're like, oh, Mike said he's really good at that. That's what I'm looking for. He must be pretty confident. Right? It's kind of a weird thing when people start recommending everybody. You know, like I recommend you, you recommend me, and it becomes this whole kind of mess. And so it's all, I mean, it's, you know, if you see somebody with like a ton of stuff on there, I wouldn't sweat it. Don't worry about it. If somebody recommends you, fine, take it. But I wouldn't sweat that part. And then down here, this additional info, you can put, you know, really, I mean, that's your closing line of your profile. You know, whatever it is that you want people people to know.
Do you have any recommendations for etiquette when you're endorsing people for skills and expertise, stuff like that?
You know, try and be concise. It is essentially a recommendation. The way most people will read it is like a letter of recommendation that you're giving to someone. So first of all, like, be prepared that like that person could call you and say, you said Stephen was really smart. He's not smart. You know, like, be truthful in what you're doing. Only do it if like you really mean it. Sort of like if you were asking me for somebody that was really good at doing something, like I'm only gonna give you like the best guy because now my name's on the line. If he screws up, then I look like a bozo. I mean, kind of go like, you know, and don't say like, you know, we're best friends and we used to always go to Windsor together and we did like those. Like, you know, nice and neat, always better. In this, if you click this little edit button here, okay? This will take you to this page. If you are not one of my connections, this is what my profile looks like on the left-hand side. Okay? It's much like the same thing you saw. The little tidbit, or the super secret that I will let you all in on, is this over here. Customize your public profile. Somebody give, let's see, I think he's here. I'm going to pick on him because he went on to do a better thing. Let's see. Is he going to, can I see what it is? No, I can't see what it is. Okay. So, chances are, if you've got a profile on here, and you look and you're editing your profile, and you look at this, it's going to be LinkedIn/in/gobbledygook 70NLP, whatever, and it goes on for a month of Sundays. If anybody's computer hip, I'm not entirely, but that's not an efficient search criteria. If you're using Google, nobody's going to search Rob Ray 7NP, ML, whatever. You can customize your LinkedIn URL, which makes it much easier for people to find you on LinkedIn. So outside of the very, very basics, right, the blocking and tackling that I kind of went over, let's make this your name. And if you can't make it your name, try and get creative. It's like creating a Gmail address, right? Trying to figure it out, maybe throw a number in there or something, to get something to work. Do that. Okay. So, now let's look for, I was saving this. So let's say I want to go find somebody. Actually, I have somebody I'm going to send an invite to. We'll see what happens. Let's say we want to go look for somebody. LinkedIn is a give and take community. If I'm going to go look at Camille's profile, he's going to know that I was looking at his profile.
Oh.
Right? So, there's a give and a take. That's kind of the price you pay. There is a way to circumvent that. Now, not that you necessarily always need to do that, but if you're just kind of doing stupid, let's say you got an interview in 2 days, and you want to go find out everything you can about everybody in human resources and who's going to be interviewed and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get the intel on the down low, and you don't want to walk in there and then everybody else is like, oh, I guess you were busy last night. You searched me and everybody else in my department.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, well, of course you know I like downhill skiing. You looked at my profile. There is a way here in your settings, with privacy and settings. Here we go, right? Privacy and settings. Let's see. Select what others see, or no, yeah, when you've viewed their profile. See this? The third link down. You can choose to be totally anonymous. Now, the thing is, when you are totally anonymous, you're saying, I don't want anybody to know. LinkedIn says, well, Camille, you're out snooping around. You don't want anybody to know. Guess what?
Nobody's gonna know you.
Exactly. You're not going to know who's snooping you.
Yeah.
Right? Quid pro quo. Right? So, what? And then you can change it. You can change it to something fairly generic, or you can just get right on it and display your name. If you're going to do any kind of real due diligence work, it might be worthwhile to come in here, change this to anonymous, go do your sniffing, come back, and change it. Change it back. Now, when you go from name and headline to anonymous, your record of who's looked at your profile will be wiped. So if there's like somebody really critical on your list or something, you're like, wow, the guy from Human Resources was, I want to save them. Do that work before you make that change. Okay? But then when you switch it back, it'll go back to recording who's looked at your page. That's one. The other is, who can see your connections? Now, there's another neat aspect of LinkedIn, in that you've got this awesome, awesome network of contacts, right? You can decide if you want to let other people see that, who you know. Now, some people say, you know, in the spirit of LinkedIn, listen, if I'm a connection to yours, the quid pro quo, it's okay. Some people are cool about it, some people are like totally private. You know, you might want to be private if you're in a position where like you just didn't want people to know that you were connected to these people. Not necessarily for personal reasons, but professional. Like if you had clients that just don't go around broadcasting that they're working with you, you might not want everybody to see like, oh hey, there's this guy's client list, right? That might be one reason. So you can change this to you or your connections. Now, this is the same thing as the profile searching, right? Quid pro quo. If you can't see your connections, or if you block everybody else, then you can't see other people's connections. So it's a little give and take. Now, to get to your question, if you select it where only you can see your connections, which at this point I don't know that you really need to unless there's someone that you really want to block, it will not prevent LinkedIn from telling me who's the connection between me and you. Right? So you were talking about how do I find somebody, does anybody know this person? That function of LinkedIn will still bleed through. The one-on-one thing is what goes away. So those are two settings to be mindful of. So let's go to the edit. Yeah.
One more question. With regards to who can see your profile thing, that list clearing, that only happens when you go from like you to anonymous, not from you to that second option where it's not your name.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. So here you can change on that same thread. You can decide how searchable you want to be. You know, if you just want anybody to be able to find you, only want people like within your network of connections or just your connections. I don't recommend changing that, but just so you know that's it. So during a board meeting with SAIFE, recently had a chance to meet this guy. Of course I'm doing this right now. Oh God, he'd probably kill me. Oh no, that's not it. How you spell it?
William.
No, not that Mike, the big dog.
Oh, I don't know.
M-E.
M-E?
Mazzeo, M-A-Z-Z-E-O.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I know him, so.
Oh, he likes Michael,
Name
not
drop.
Mike, that's why.
Yeah.
Ah, there he is. Yeah, see, right? Okay. This big dog. He stopped in. It was super awesome. You guys got a chance to meet him?
Yeah.
It's a great guy. And I saved him to make him a connection for this thing, so I could kind of walk you through the process, right? So here's Dean Mazio, and maybe he's someone that you met at a networking event or something like that. You want to make him a connection. First, you got to decide, you know, just because you met him, is he somebody that you really want as a connection? Can he help you? Did you make an impact? Could you call him and he'd listen to you, or can you send him an email? Do you think you made that kind of connection? So assuming that you got that far, we want to connect. Now, there are all sorts of ways to connect to people on LinkedIn. It can get access to your Gmail account. You can authorize it. It'll scan your inbox. It'll look for email addresses and cross-reference and blast out. You can do all that sort of stuff. My personal preference is to either go directly to the profile or one other way for one reason. If you bulk, and I believe I'm correct on this, if you bulk invite people, This is what they get in their email. How boring vanilla is that? If anybody sends that to me, and I don't know them, like I know them like really well, immediate response back, who are you, how do I know you, what do you want to get from connecting? Right? Because it's like, well, you didn't put any thought into it, so I must be benefiting you, I don't know how you're going to benefit me. This is a great place so you can say, you know, if it was a friend, you guys went to school together, he's a classmate, and then it'll ask you, you know, where did you guys go to school? Or you can say, you know, we've done business together. And it'll input the stuff that you've listed in your professional experience, all those jobs and titles. You can say, hey, we worked together at UBS, or what have you. Or you could just go the great way and say we're friends. And I recommend, like email context, right? You want it to read as if you were just saying it, like right there, right? So, we'll see what he says. Alright, doesn't that read like so much better? If I got that in my email, I'd actually start to read it. Okay, right, that's how he spells his name, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I need a yeah, I need a yes. Anybody got a yes?
Josh.
Yes, Josh, yes.
Yes.
M-A-Z-Z, okay, thank you.
M-A-Z-Z-E-O.
E-O, okay, it was a great meeting, you're important for SAIFE. Let's go ahead and list. We'll just let it fly. Sincerely appreciate your support, look forward to talking to you again soon. Okay. So, that's probably the best way, or, you know, hey, great meeting you at X and X event. Jog their memory, you want to make it as easy as possible, right? You don't want them thinking, like, where did I meet this kid? Like, it's great meeting you at this, I really enjoyed talking about this, look forward to talking to you again sometime soon. That makes it easy, it's just a point and click and, yep, sure, connect. Now, there is a way that LinkedIn will populate like other connections that maybe you know. They do, and you come up with this, you know, little menu of people, and it just, if you scroll down, it just goes on and on and on and on, and it just keeps going on. There used to be only this connect button, which would stick out that nasty spam message that everybody's done. This little button here allows you to type in a custom little message and then send the invitation. LinkedIn finally got hip to, you know, people not liking to get that sort of stuff in their mail, so you can do that. Let's see. So when looking at your context, so now let's say you've been kind of doing this a while, and you got like, you know, however many number of people. You can, oh look at that, he's got a new job. You can organize all these people. So you got 400, like I got 447 people, right? How do you stay on top of all those people? You can tag or create groups of your contacts. You can organize them. This little tag button here, you can, there's I think a couple pre-populated ones. This is a great way if you start building your contacts to organize it, and then you can go back and search by the tags.
Can other people see what you tag them in, or is it just for your reference?
I believe they can't.
Okay.
I don't know for that for a fact. Let's see, tagging, alright. So, that is the shape. Any questions about like profile, connections, that sort of stuff?
So, when you get email from someone says, I'd like to network with you, I don't know who's that person, or you have to talk to them back?
No, like, so the message, you know, you'll get like a little notice, like up on your,
Yeah,
that you're getting
an
an email.
email.
that says, you know, blah, 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 hopefully they didn't use the nasty draft email. And you can either just click, you know, accept invitation. Come on here, you can check out their profile first, you can just message them back and say like,
Who are
I
you?
don't know, yeah, you sent me a spam email, like, how do I know you? That sort of thing. And actually had to go back and forth in a dialogue, like 8 messages. This guy was like trying to sell me on some like crazy, the guy was totally trying to like swindle me into this investment deal. It was totally crazy. And I like blew him out of the water. I was like never contact me again. I never want to see you, sort of thing. But I digress. Okay, so what else can we talk about? So searching. You can use LinkedIn for a lot of stuff. Put down here, check out the competition. You know, in your position, depending on your personal situation, I don't know exactly what your competition might be. Well, let's say you're in a profession or a position, you're doing something, and you have a client, right? And there's a concern that someone else could take your client. It might be worth checking out, like, what does that guy do? You know, what does his LinkedIn look like? You know, what does he know? If you were, I don't know, running for student body president or something like that, you could like look up and say, like, what is this guy all about? You know, does he have anything? You can use it for research, the same as you might look for somebody that you just met. You can look to see what everybody else is doing. So following companies, this is actually kind of cool, especially if you're going to be like, you know, researching jobs. There are, when you're searching, this is just the generic search, right? You put in whatever you want, it'll give you whatever, you know, everything. You can search specifically by company, and employers and companies are now using LinkedIn to share information, just like they're doing on Facebook. Right? You can choose to follow these companies, and whenever they have announcements, you'll see it in your LinkedIn feed, just like Facebook. So if you're thinking about interviewing someplace, or you'd really like to work someplace, might be a good idea to follow. See what's going on. Who knows? They might position, you know, post an open position. Right? Get right on it. That's what it is. Groups. Now there are groups. If we go back to my profile, you can join these groups. Let's see, is the list here? Okay, yeah, look at this. So here's some groups. No, these are companies. What are my groups? Groups. Okay, so I'll tell you what. Somebody just give me something. Well, actually, tell you what, I'll save you the trouble.
You alumni association.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Oh, you alumni, what's up? Yeah, so there are, well, you can see here, oh, there it is. Okay, so here is a group. Now you will find, I guess so like Facebook, and LinkedIn, there's a group for like everything. There is a group for people that like to run, for triathletes, there's groups for people that like working on snowboards, there's like something for everything. There's the personal, then there's the professional, in this sense, kind of the academic side of it. Groups allow you to do 2 things. Communicate within the group, post message, share information, that sort of thing. It also is one of those like step closers, right? Like, oh, Stephen's an OU alumni. Like, we're in the same group. LinkedIn, when I'm looking at his profile, will say, you were both in the Oakland University alumni group. Hey, okay, that's pretty hip. So, by natural just affiliation, you know, you can kind of like, look at these. This guy, anybody know this guy? Charlie? He's pretty cool. My buddy Brett, he's in the fraternity. It's pretty awesome. Scott, fraternity. Doug, good buddy of mine, he lives in Chicago. All graduates of Oakland University. And here you can see, you know, people are posting news updates, and you can comment on it, you can like it, you know, very Facebook-y sort of thing. Which brings me to something else is, in LinkedIn and in these groups, if someone posts a question, so you probably wouldn't see someone post, hey, do you know somebody that works in HR in this company? in a group. But you might see, hey, when is the next alumni association, when is homecoming, right? In that, you can comment, and there's a whole dialogue that you can have under these different subjects. That's something that you can kind of pick and choose if you want to be engaged in conversation, because if it's personal and professional, if you're engaged there, back to the first impression thing, people are seeing you like engaging stuff. If it's a subject that you're passionate about, especially if it leads to something professional, they might see you as like a subject matter expert. Like, wow, man, this guy's like on everything. He's answering everybody's questions. Not that you should or you shouldn't, but it's something to consider or to be knowledgeable. University. So this is a great way. Alumni. You guys graduate from Oakland University. There are thousands of alumni. Thousands and thousands. It's a great way to just, that's a simple connection, right? We both went to OU. Who did, who was in SAIFE? Whatever, you can make that connection. LinkedIn next. Okay, so let's go back to this guy. Okay. So, to your question, does anybody know this guy? I want to meet Dean Mazio. I really like this guy. I really want to get some FaceTime with him. Down here, ooh, you know, this tells me how I can get to the dean. I have 7 people that are connected to him that I know. So this tells me, of these people, they know they're connected to him. You can kind of pick which of these people, if I call, would be easiest to say, hey, Mike, is he a pretty good guy? You mind giving me a call with him or something? Or hey, better yet, I'm going to be interviewing. You know him. We're really good friends because we're connected. You think I'm awesome. I'm going to be talking with this guy tomorrow. You mind, water cooler, say something positive, something like that. That's how you can close the gap.
But you're assuming that he is an assistant.
Correct. And you'll know that by just doing a simple search. If you can find him,
Oh, okay.
this gets computed automatically, right? So that's how to close that gap. There's events that get posted, stuff that's going on. Anybody? Yes. Yeah.
Could you scroll that down a little bit?
Yeah.
What was that get introduced by?
Get introduced. It's great. So you can send like an email to somebody that says, trying to get to this guy, you're my middle guy, like, can you introduce me? Which, you go through that personally, I think face-to-face, or at least over the phone is a better solution. Call the person, because then you get an email and it's like, it's kind of like slimy when you're trying to get like an email introduction to this guy. 'Cause maybe he's like sensitive. Maybe former Dean Tanneru is like, I don't know, Mike's a really good friend of mine. I don't know if I want to introduce you because I don't know what you want. But if you call him, say, hey, Vaughn, he's the new dean. Mind setting up a coffee, like whatever. It's probably a better chance of getting around to him. Events, anybody in IT? Anybody studying IT? No IT guys? Okay. There's a group called DetroitNet.org if you're in IT. They do all these events. They really know how to use LinkedIn. The website is DetroitNet.org. They have a whole section called Don't Be This Guy, which is really entertaining. Like, you don't want to be that guy. There's somebody that nobody wants to hang around with, and there's all different types and flavors. But there's events you can sign up and say, yeah, I'm going to homecoming through LinkedIn. That's what's big. Advanced search. All right. This is where they hide the brass tacks, kids. Okay. So it's this advanced button next to the search. Only advanced people click it. This is how you manipulate LinkedIn beyond this generic search box. So, let's say somebody give me a company, a local company, like Ryan. Let's do Chrysler.
Come on. I thought we were friends.
Friend said, kind of on campus. Is that right? I can't see that. Okay, so I want to go work at Chrysler. You can just plug in Chrysler. Oh, I typed that in. I do this every time. Cool. Okay. Now, here's just everybody that works at Chrysler. The cool thing is that this tells me, see next to the name how it says seconds? They're a second connection, right? They're one away. I can click this one shared, and this tells me who's my guy to get to Keith, right? Up here, this automatically assumes we're going to search your first, second connections, and then in all your groups. Because LinkedIn kind of takes this assumption that third level, right, 2 out, is like really kind of dusty and if you really want to, it's kind of hard to look at. You can include them if you want further down here. So at Chrysler, of my connections, I have 16 people involved in a first connection, like my good buddy Nick. 16 people. Second connection. So we were talking about this exponential growth rate. I got, call it 2,700 people through my first connections that have an affiliation with Chrysler. It's a good pretty good odd at finding somebody that does something that on an interview to get me where I gotta go. Expand that out to third connections. It's like 58,000 people, right? That's the value add there is kind of, I don't know. So this is the way we can search for the company. Let's say, and I talked about the filter, right? So if we want to, if we're looking at this and you want to bump out your group members, just exit out, cleans that all up, and now we're just looking at first and second connections. You can add stuff in here to narrow down that scope. So I want Chrysler, but now I want also OU grads, right? So you can type that in a school, and that'll shrink the scope. Change the filter. There's also these keywords. So let's say you wanted to do like. We're talking about jobs. Human resources. Wow, look at all these people. These are all people in human resources that probably have a finger on the button involved when it comes to people getting a job or not. Right? So this might be something valuable if you're looking for open positions. You can do keyword human resources, keyword Chrysler. Who's in Chrysler or works in human resources. Then when you click on the person. Let's see, I got a lot of people that work in human resources. Right, when you find, well, you get the point. You go through, you find the person, you click on the name, then it says, oh, that person is connected to so-and-so. If it was a second connection, it would say, oh, you're connected by so-and-so. That's how you get to them. You can save these searches if you really want to be engaged. You can save this particular search, and you can have this search like rerun like whenever you want it to, essentially. So I don't know if you really want to get into that, but you can. Let's see this. Keyword search. We talked about organizing profiles, all that sort of stuff. Talked about participating in answers, within the groups, if you want to get into that whole jazz. Premium. See how it says premium? That is a paid subscription to LinkedIn. There is a free one. The free one allows you to do the vast majority of everything that I've shown you at no cost. What premium does is it gives you a couple messages, it allows you to go snooping and still be able to see who's seen your profile. That's a cool aspect. But, you know, for what you guys are using it for, I don't think you gotta go in and pay for the application. Now, there's some stuff you can get LinkedIn on iPad, Android, iPhone, all that sort of stuff. There's also this, there's also a couple plugins that allow you to log in with your LinkedIn profile that work with the API and kind of change the format. One of them is this Newsly that you can use to stay on top of what's going on in your network. If you want to know about, you know, people changing jobs, people moving. Let's say the guy just got a job at Chrysler, and like, hey, let's get on the same boat. You know, make an offer me. So that sort of thing. There's lots of stuff, but recently LinkedIn has done a lot of updating to the website to make it more so that you don't have to use all that other stuff. Wes, I know Wes. This is the feed portion, right? This is your home page, so you can see like all these people have new connections. So you can look at them, see who connected to who. This person, John, connected to whoever Arlene is. Oh, look at that. A ghost face. Do we do gray boxes for pictures? Oh, no. Right? See how attractive this is? You see everybody's face, and you see gray. I don't know who Arlene is. Well, you know, liking, comments, you know, hey, you did a good job, congratulations. Oh, look at this. If you guys were in IT, this woman, Dina, very, very nice. She's a recruiter. She's looking for somebody to fill a position. If you get a chance to meet a couple of recruiters, good people to stay on top of. Let's see, here's the, 6 people have viewed my profile in the past 15 days. That's exciting. And a couple of, you know, there's job postings that come up and all this sort of stuff. But, you know, I guess the last thing, the thing that I want to leave you with is, you know, I don't know much about the job market coming out of college. You guys are going to be learning that firsthand. But what I do know is that getting a job isn't like horseshoes or hand grenades, right? It's not just close. Everything that you can do in this age of information, everything that you can do to be sharper, better, closer, faster, more awesome than the other guy, you've just got to do it. And this is one tool that you can use to do research on a person, on a position, on a company, on whatever, or that people are going to be doing on you, right? If somebody hears Rob Ray, I don't know, type it in Google. I really hope that they find my profile, because I think that describes me pretty well. I don't want them to find nothing or who else or whatever else that they might find. So it's very worthwhile. I strongly recommend that you do it. And let's close it. You guys got any questions?
For LinkedIn Premium, what was, obviously, you're thinking that it's worth the investment. What is it that it gives you that makes it worth it?
So it gives me, one, the ability to see who's, look at me. There are these in messages that allow you to message someone else on LinkedIn directly, sort of like sending an email, but it goes directly through LinkedIn, so they get it. Now, some people might find it valuable. I don't use it. It's a feature that I don't use. But in my profession, I want to know as much as I can about either other professionals that I'm working with, or my clients or potential clients, that sort of thing. I don't think that there's much that the premium membership offers, at least as students, that we can't get with the free thing.
How much time you spend daily?
Nothing, I mean, and what I use it for, I take a look, I see, if anybody got any new jobs, I see, if anybody got a promotion, if I'm going to a company,
So employers are easy with this, I mean,
Yeah.
you and your working
Yeah.
hours.
yeah, and it's not like that's all I do at my desk, I mean,
Oh.
I glance at it or whatever. But if I've got someone that I wanna make a connection with, I'll spend the time to look and see what is the best way
To reach
to
you.
do that, yeah, and to close that gap without being, the weird guy in the corner that's just like staring at him and is afraid to go talk to him. That nobody wants to meet that guy. That's sort of a thing. So, any other questions? Was it awesome?
Yes.
Sweet. I'll be hanging out afterwards, if you got any other questions? That's it.
Thank you guys. Hopefully everyone learned something from Rob's presentation to improve your own LinkedIn profile. If you do not have one, hopefully he helped you encourage you to create your own profile and use it in the right ways. Our next meeting is after break, March 6th, where we will hold our first e-board election. So please come, and we look forward to having your vote in 2 weeks. Drive safely.